This video is going to brush into discussion of the RWBY Volume 9 official teaser. Operation is now going to commence.
Is the story of a girl.
Oh, good to know. Okay.
Before she went back home.
Who's the narrator?
After all
Was
the
that?
lessons she'd learned,
Okay.
the friends she'd made and lost,
Ah,
what would she become? Would she still be the same when she went back home?
well, we'll see, I
Leaves of the
suppose.
tree rustled, and on the wind,
Oh,
she heard one more question.
okay.
What
Hmm.
are you?
Oh. Okay. Well, it is a teaser. Okay, 2023. When it comes to this trailer, let me overanalyze it just a little bit, because if you like, I should. Obviously, if I watch pretty much the beginning of the first episode after this video, so I won't go too hard, but I want to see. First things first, the narrator. Just gotta mention that in all likelihood it is a new character that we've never seen, and it's going to play an important role in the volume. For all we know, it could be Neo, right? Could it be Neo? I don't know. I mean, technically, why not, right? Sure. But okay, there is the thing with the bells. Obviously, if they're going to be in some sort of version of Wonderland, which, by the way, I didn't. This is something I learned later in my life, but apparently the Wizard of Oz has something like 13 books. Something ridiculous like that, I don't know. Also, my eyes will probably get teary because of allergies, but besides the point, so seems like RWBY, or at least. I don't know, there is this strange hole with the bells and it's heading towards some sort of circle. I really don't get it. Obviously, if we're gonna get RWBY discovering. I mean, I probably should be showing you what I'm talking about, right? You know what? Doesn't matter. Overall, when it comes to this trailer, there is three, I would say, maybe four specific things that I'm truly looking forward to. The obvious things, which I obviously enough knew were going to be in the volume, was RWBY is going to discover Penny's body, or at the very least her blades. I am hoping that she's able to see her body. I don't want them to show us, but I mean, actually, I wouldn't mind it, but the show doesn't really want to go that dark. I mean, then again, there was the Clover thing, so I don't know, they can definitely show it if they wanted to. They have done blood before, so I feel like nothing really stops them. They really wanted to. But hey, they don't have to show it, they totally can do. I personally would rather that. And maybe RWBY is going to make a conclusion that she was stabbed and maybe she's not gonna. I mean, then again, I would say Cinder does use blades a lot as well. But if Cinder was the one that finished Penny off, obviously enough it would be burnt. And yeah, point is, I am guessing that obviously enough RWBY is going to figure out. I don't know whether she'll be the first to figure out that Penny is dead, but I would rather her find out herself than someone else tell her. Now, obviously, RWBY finding the fact that Penny has died herself would probably lead to some misunderstandings, especially depending on what conclusions she comes up with, or rather gets to, before even speaking to the people that were there. But hey, there is a lot of potential, there is a lot of things they can do with that. I am kind of fearful of how they're gonna handle that storyline in particular. It is a specific thing that I am incredibly excited about, because obviously it is deeply connected with Jean, and I mean, it's pretty much going to be. Looking back, I feel like they might have really hate that, but the point is that this is definitely, if they have any brain, and I hope they do, please. No, it's impossible for them not to do anything, right? At least they have to talk about it. At least one conversation. I feel like it should be more than one conversation, but okay. I shouldn't be too negative. I don't know what's gonna happen. The trailer didn't really lead me in any direction when it comes to that. They just showed RWBY finding the blades of Penny. I shouldn't be jumping to any conclusions. But anyway, as I was saying, when it comes to jumping to conclusions, depending on how much information RWBY has, she might jump to the conclusion that Jean has killed Penny, which would obviously not lead to conflict. But here's the thing, I really want there to be conflict between RWBY and Jean, because conflict, character development, good stuff, obviously enough, if it is done right. And this is the thing, I want RWBY to jump to a conclusion, but I don't want it to be something absolutely ridiculous like, I don't know, Jean decided to be evil for the sake of it. Like, no, I don't think that there is any sort of dimension in which if Ruby figures out that John is the one that killed Penny, that she would assume that he did it, I don't know, for the fun of it. Like, they won't do something that stupid. I refuse to believe that. I'm not even gonna entertain it, sure. Point is, I do want conflict, but I don't want the conflict to be something that doesn't make any sort of sense. And obviously I just gave an example. And I also am curious to see how much is Weiss going to know in particular. Because I've heard certain people who have watched, obviously, the finale of the last season and make videos on YouTube say that Weiss is probably gonna tell Ruby the truth. And there was a scene in the trailer itself. Oh, now that YouTube has added the feature that shows you which parts have been most played. The most played part is the mouse. Seriously? Seriously? I mean, I really agree though. The most played part in the video is definitely the thing I'm most interested in. This video is going way longer than I wanted. But anyway, I'm getting distracted from what I wanted to finish up quickly. With the Ruby and Jean and I guess, and now I'm gonna add Weiss to the mix. Conflict. Which is probably going to be a conflict. I mean, it has to be. It has to be one of the main plot lines of that thing. It's pretty much going to be Jean's entire thing, I am assuming. At least at the beginning of the volume. Him dealing with the fact that he had to kill someone, especially someone who's his ally. It's not like Penny was a close friend of his, but she definitely was a nice person, and obviously enough, I don't think Jean has ever killed someone. He obviously had plenty of intention to kill Cinder. He didn't succeed, but he had the intention to. Still, I believe this is the first time he has really killed someone, and I am hoping that they treat it like a big deal, because it really should be. It really should be. Yeah, just... There's a lot of potential when it comes to this. And I'm still forgetting the thing I wanted to mention. Yeah, I remember. Now, what I wanted to say, with many people talking about Weiss's involvement in this conflict between Ruby and Jean, I personally would be fine if Weiss actually doesn't know what happened exactly. She just knows that Penny is dead. Or maybe she doesn't even know that she died. Although I think in the trailer they showed all of them talking and Weiss was crying. So I think this is probably from the episode where Ruby's told that Penny is dead, I'm assuming, obviously, and maybe Weiss knows, but even in that case, even if Weiss knows that Penny had died, I am not going to assume that she knows for a fact that John is the one that did it. I don't know which I would rather be the case. I guess it really depends on how they want to handle the story overall, because if Weiss knows, and she obviously says that to Ruby, she can take that pretty badly, especially considering they just got betrayed by Ironwood, which I have issues with that overall, but hey, what is important is that Weiss's information is going to play a crucial factor in how much does Ruby understand. One thing I really don't want them to do, but also I guess it would be interesting if they did do it, is if Weiss actually knows absolutely everything. She knows that Penny literally asked John to do that, but it would make sense if Weiss knew that, because she was fighting Cinder at the time, and obviously John and Penny were not whispering, but they were definitely not screaming, so I highly doubt that Weiss had any time to pay attention to them while she was fighting Cinder without Aura. So yeah, no way. Weiss should have the minimum amount of information. I'm focusing way too much on that, but honestly that's mostly because that's the thing I'm most excited about when it comes to just what I saw in this trailer. And that is because, except the fact that I'm super excited about the little conflict we're gonna have between Jean and Ruby, it seems like the knight who surrounded in flame might be Jean. Or, obviously, it could be a descendant of... well, actually, it would be interesting if it is a descendant of his. I don't know how that would make sense. I suppose it can be the case. But it could be a predecessor of his, rather. It has to be connected to Jean, because the armor is too similar. Obviously, Jean's based on... Jean's... What's the word? I was going to say source material. That's not the word, but... the person that John is based on is definitely connected to fire in a specific way. So I'm desperately hoping that this volume doesn't kill John. I did mention over and over again that I'm very excited about the conflict between Ruby and John, but I don't want John to die. Like, I would rather many other characters die, to be honest, but I will not talk about that. Point is, I'm really hoping that they get this volume to go on ahead and develop everyone that's on the island, and I hope they kill Neo. Yeah, that's also pretty much the entirety of my hope. And you know what? When it comes to this trailer, this I'm just gonna throw a cool little theory here. Might as well. There was the interesting guy who had a mask and seemed like a Grim. He might be, and yeah, he had some interesting super speed movement, or maybe he was doing an illusion. Yeah, that monster. It's intriguing. So that thing could be, I mean, honestly, it could be a child of the god of destruction, or maybe of another god. I have, for now, there hasn't been any sort of inclination that there could be more than the two gods. Then again, Ruby Fairytales or whatever introduced the idea of an animal god, which honestly seemed more similar to the god of light, but hey, I think they definitely can introduce different gods in this universe, and in personal opinion, if they do, I feel like it will be better. I'm not gonna go into why I think so right now, because this video is already way longer than it should be, especially because I'm watching the actual episode 1 in a minute. Well, the actual trailer for episode 1, which is the beginning of episode 1. Besides the point, what is important is that I am really hoping that they actually add more gods, that they do something like the giant tree in the middle is actually Yggdrasil, and there is 9 different realms, which each one has their own gods, their own species, their own magical systems even. I think that would be very interesting, and would also kind of give them an infinite amount of possibilities when it comes to continuing the franchise as a whole. So there is a lot of potential with this volume in particular. When it comes to expectations of this volume, they're actually very high, because first, it's taken some time for it to come out, but more importantly, my biggest expectations come from what they can do in order to expand this world as a whole. And I'm not saying that, I mean, I'm pretty much what I'm really hoping for them to do, as I said, is to introduce many realms, many gods, many different species. I just want to know that this is a ginormous world. They don't need to explore even 100th of the thing that they introduce in this volume in the RWBY series overall. What they can do after they finish the story of RWBY is, for example, we can get then the tales of, I don't know, the tales of Dark Family or something, where we go over maybe how one of Jean's descendants or whatever goes on ahead and explores one of those realms, or maybe Ruby's descendant, or maybe the same thing, who knows. Point is, I wanted to expand the universe a lot in this, because what's the point of introducing a new world if not to go on ahead and give us some crazy ridiculous things that change the perspective of how the universe works. I just really have probably too big expectations when it comes to this volume, because I just want a lot of world building, and honestly I wouldn't mind a lot of exposition, but we'll see. I mean, I guess I said I wouldn't mind a lot of exposition, but I guess I'm also kind of afraid that this could be only exposition. But I guess it depends on how much they decide to introduce. I'm rambling way too much. What is important is that I'm definitely most excited to see what they're gonna do with Penny's death when it comes to the characters, which, let's be honest, it's just Jean and obviously RWBY. The others, sure, I'm certain they're gonna be affected, but I don't really care about their opinion that much, because I don't think it's gonna matter. Obviously enough, we need to see what happens with Neo. Personal hope is that she dies. And something cool they can do with, obviously, Jean being surrounded by fire, is maybe Jean can be the one that kills her, and he can go on a path where he decides to actually truly take a similar approach to Ironwood, not become the bad guy, but perhaps take a similar approach where he will be the one that makes actually the tough decisions that Ruby doesn't want to make, and take the life of someone if he needs to, in order to preserve, I was going to say the peace, rather in order to achieve peace. Yeah, something like that. And obviously it's going to be a very interesting dynamic change for Jean, from who has been incredibly passive in the last couple of volumes. He really hasn't been able to do much. That's why I'm actually super excited to what they're gonna do with him. Apparently this teaser covers only the first 3 episodes, which means that, considering the only thing connected to Jean, at least directly, and we don't even know where it's directly connected to him, was the armor, I'm assuming the first couple of episodes will be mostly focused around the girls, which is fine. I don't find that as a bad thing. And then again, I suppose this all could be from the first episode or maybe episode 2, but it would be strange, especially the creatures, the mouse also. Apparently that's the most watched part of the video, the mouse. I didn't even mention it, but I will not mention it because it's going to be apparently important in the next thing I'm watching right now. But hey, what is important overall is that I'm super hyped to what they're gonna do with the characters, and I am even more hyped about what they can do with this world. I frankly want them to get to a point where this is just a crazy magical world and everything we knew about RWBY is pretty much worthless. I'm sorry, that's my opinion. I know many people won't like that, but I want them to not invalidate everything they've said so far when it comes to just the magic and so on and so forth, but I want them to add so much more that it kind of seems irrelevant. That I want the characters to experience everything to a point where they think that the story that they're actually a part in is pretty much insignificant in the grand scheme of things. But hey, overall, I'm excited. I'm gonna watch obviously of the trailer of episode 1 or chapter 1, whatever. But for now, there is a better structure out there, and I hope you enjoyed it as much as I did.